Hello and welcome to this video on how to leverage Google Meet in the classroom. In a previous video, you're shown how to make a Google Meet link and post it into your Blackboard site as a virtual classroom. So here we are at this point. We've clicked on that link and we've come to the Google Meet lobby. So in the lobby, I guess I would point out to you, you can have the blur screen option. If you do not see this option, it just means Google senses that your computer doesn't have the right properties or resources to run blur. Blur is very resource intensive, and I don't recommend using it unless you do have a powerful computer and a strong internet connection. But blur will blur your background, so just that you're seen in the shot, and you can't and the participants can't see the environment that you're sitting in. The next thing you want to do here in this lobby area is come up to the three dots, the more options at the top of the screen here, and click on it. And you would want to go into your settings. Your settings here is where you can test your microphone. So here I can see my microphone is off. You can turn on noise cancellation in case there's a noisy background. I have my microphone off right now because I'm doing this video recording, and I can only have one application using a microphone at one time. But for you, you're not doing a screen recording while you're joining your meet. So what you would do is you would speak, you would see a microphone icon here with some modulation going through if it's hearing your voice. If it's not, you just go to the drop down and move through each of the devices that you see in that list, and then you will come across the proper device, and you'll know it's the proper device when you see the green modulation of your voice moving in a microphone icon here on the right hand side. Speakers as well, you can hit the test button here to hear a test sound. If you hear the sound, then that's the proper setting. If you do not hear that test sound, once again, click the drop down and just move sequentially through your options until you hear that sound. If you're using a headset, a USB headset is a wonderful thing when you're in a meet because it reduces background noise and also feedback. And the computer will tell you, here's your headset, and so you could just pick the headset visually, so you can select the right device. You can come over to the video area here. The video area shows you the camera that you're using. Typically on a machine you only have one camera, but sometimes people have two cameras. So if you're not seeing an image of yourself over here, make sure that you click the drop down and see what options you have available to you. The resolution for auto is okay. If we always want to preserve bandwidth in these situations. We always say web conferencing is a best effort service. It is not a guaranteed service because you're always at the tyranny of the internet. You could be doing everything right on your end and everything is still going wrong in the meeting, just because all that information has to travel over the internet, and the internet can get congested. And during the pandemic here, the internet is very congested. So just know that this is a best effort service, not a guaranteed service. So to preserve bandwidth, you can always come down to standard definition and change your items to standard definition. And then you can move on from there. Auto is fine, but just if you are having repeat issues with internet connectivity, try just lowering the quality of your camera. And I can exit out of here. And now I know that my microphone and my camera are configured, and I'm ready to join the Google Meet. So I click the Join Now button, and here I am in the Google Meet. Because my camera is turned off, my image is showing here. My profile picture for my Google account shows here. If I turn my camera on, that would replace my picture here. So in the Google Meet space, I have a few options here. If I go across the top menu structure, I have the participant window. So if I click on this, it shows me who is in the meeting. Because I own this link, I have host controls. You can invite people while you're in the meeting. I don't recommend that. Just like I said, for your class purposes, have this Meet link embedded in your Blackboard course as a virtual classroom or online classroom. Label it how you want, and you and the students just both click in one place to end up in the same meeting. So it's just one-stop shopping. So the participant window shows you who is available. The little pin here, you can pin that person to that person's video feed to the center of the screen so you can only see them no matter who's talking. And you can also unmute the participant as a host control. If, for instance, a student left their microphone open and it's creating feedback in the session or disrupting the session, you can mute um, the microphone by clicking on it next to the name of the participant. Know that all meetings that have more than 5 participants or attendees, you will receive an attendance list, an attendance sheet emailed to you automatically from Google to your Google account. So just expect that if you have more than 5 people in the meeting. I'm just going to close the participant window here. And next I have the chat function. The chat function is really handy to chat to your students. I'd come down here and write a message and send, and then everybody can see that message in the chat. Where the chat is handy is if folks are having technical issues with their camera or the microphone, they can write into the chat and say, you know, here's my issue, here's what's going on, so you know what's happening on their end, and perhaps you can talk them through how to remedy their situation through your microphone, or you can chat back at them. Sometimes you may not be heard, so you can check your settings and chat back to your students as well. If you find that your headset or your microphone or your video is not being picked up, you can always unplug the device and plug it back in. But when you do this, you're going to have to leave the meeting, unplug the device, plug it back in, then come back into the Google Meet, and then go to those settings that we just looked at earlier and see if you can find your video and microphone options and speaker options there. So if they're not visible in those choices to begin with, just unplug them, plug them back in, and go back and revisit that setting. So chat is just a way to chat to your students. It's a handy tool. And over here we have more activities buttons. So these are all the new features here that you'll find in Google Meet. We're not going to get into these features, but just know they exist. There are links to the Google Help Center, the Google Meet Help Center elsewhere on this site where you're viewing this video. So just keep an eye out for links to the Google Meet Help Center, and you can learn more about these features. But Google Meet now does have breakout rooms, has a polling option, and has Q&A. The breakout rooms is you can send your students out to smaller rooms so they can discuss, then come back to the main room you just created here. A poll, I can do a quick poll of my students and see what they're thinking about a particular topic. And a Q&A is where students can actually enter their questions in, and then Google will put those questions in an order for you, so you can move through the questions sequentially that your students are asking. So it's another substitute for the chat, because often the chat can have a life of its own and questions could get buried in there and you may not see them. So the Q&A section is a nice section to keep your students' questions organized. And I will press the X here to close that window pane. And then, of course, there's another way to reach the activities button here. Once again, and the time, and then here's your self view of what's going on, and here's where you see what basically what the participants would see. The next thing to cover, I guess, is the raise hand function. So now there is a way to get some nonverbal feedback from your students. They can click and raise hand, and you would have an indication that this person has their hand raised, and that would give them an opportunity to open up the mic and speak to you about their question. The other thing about microphones, good etiquette, if you are not speaking, have your microphone muted, only have your microphone open if you are speaking. In terms of video quality or quality of your call, as mentioned earlier, you're at the tyranny of the internet. You could be doing everything right, but still the quality of the call is poor. If you find that the quality of the call is poor, you can also mute your camera, mute your video, turn off your video. Video is heavy on bandwidth. So those are things that you can do to help reduce bandwidth and improve the quality of your call. Muting your mic when it's not necessary, and perhaps even only turning on your camera when it's necessary. I know it's nice to see faces, and it's difficult to to just speak to a bunch of vacant tiles, but that will help you with the quality of your call. You can turn on captioning. This is only for you. This is at the user level where Google will present captions to you in real time, but this is not being broadcasted out. Each user, each attendee would actually have to turn this on their end to see captions. The Present Now button, that's going to be critical to you. This is going to be how you display content to students. So if you wanted to share a video through your synchronous session or show PowerPoint or anything else on your computer, you'll do it with the Present Now. So when I click on the Present Now, I'm presented with three options: my entire screen, a window, and a tab. For people just starting out with sharing your screen, I always say use your entire screen option. The reason why I say that is because whatever you see on your screen is what your participants are seeing. So if you share your entire screen, that means whatever's happening on your screen is going out to your students or your attendees or participants in your meeting. The only caveat to that would be when playing a video. When playing a video, you must use a tab. You must share a tab. And typically videos are already online anyway, so you're probably showing a YouTube or something that's available on the internet. So basically you would click on share a tab. You'll see all the tabs open. You would select the YouTube tab or whatever streaming service or wherever you're finding this online. Make sure the share audio button box is checked, and then click share. So you do have to actually click on something and then click share, and then that video will be playing through your meeting. If the video is a file on your computer, you could actually open up a folder and just drag and drop your folder into a new tab. So if I created a new tab here, and I actually just dragged and dropped a video file in here, this browser would open up with a player and start playing it. So I would drop the video file in, and I would do this before the class. Drop the video file in, hit pause, and then wait for that time in the class when I'm going to show it. So in general, I would curate all the information I'm going to show in my synchronous session all at once. So I have my PowerPoint open down here. If I had a PDF I wanted to show, I'd have that open down here. If I was using the tabs, anything that's like a web resource, like a video, I would have all those tabs already set up and good to go while I'm in my meeting. Because then once I am in Meet, I can present now. If it was a tab, I would select the tab, find the tab I want to use, highlight it, click share. Students are now seeing the tab. If it was my PowerPoint, like I said, you could use a window. A window just describes any application that happens to be open on your computer at the time, but sometimes folks can get lost in the woods when they share a window. So like I said, if you're just starting out, maybe your entire screen is the best way to go. So click on your entire screen. I have two monitors set up, so which screen are we talking about? Well, I want to share screen one. So I will click on screen one, and then I will get a share option here to use. So then I click share, and now my entire desktop is being shared. So pretending that my entire desktop is being shared, okay, it's being shared out. Now I can open up my PowerPoint, and I press F5 to start my PowerPoints. And I can now begin lecturing to my students. This one here has, so if this happens to you, you want to duplicate slideshow so you don't see the presenter notes. If you do need your presenter notes, then you probably have two screens, and you would share a separate screen. So with presenter notes, like I said, if you wanted to use presenter notes while you're presenting your PowerPoint, then you would share your second screen where that student view of the PowerPoint would be shown, and then the screen that you're reading your notes off, that still stays private. So that would be how you would share your screen. At the top of the screen, or sometimes at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a stop share button. You can click stop share, And then come back to your meeting tab with the meeting, and this is where you can engage your students once again. So when you're sharing a screen as a present now, you would open up your present now, you would go entire screen. If you were just using one monitor and then you would not have presentation notes or presenter notes for your PowerPoint, then you would select screen one. If you are using presenter notes, then click screen two, because when you do go into your PowerPoint, your notes will be on screen one. What the students are seeing on screen two is your PowerPoint without your notes visible. Click share and you're good to go. Once again, if it was a video you're sharing, you present now, select the tab where you have the video open, choose the tab where the video is, click share, make sure that share audio checkbox is checked off. And so you may toggle back and forth. It's totally okay to do that. So you might be talking to your students in the meeting for a little bit, and then you're going to be going over to some resource that you're sharing and presenting. And then you'll stop sharing, come back to your meeting, chat some more, and maybe you'll present again. So that is basically how to share your screen and to share some teaching content with your students via a Google Meet. There are the more options tab here where you can use a whiteboard. So there's a virtual whiteboard you can use. You can record the meeting. You can change the layout of the meeting, but that's only going to be on your end. That doesn't change it for recordings or for the students on their side. So in change layout, I just want you to know that there is a tile view. If you do want to see all your students in a grid view, come to change layout, click on tiled, and then maximize that slider. Do not trust the auto to do this. So if you do want to see all the little squares of your students, this is how you would do it. And then once you have that set, you can just X out, and then Meet will adjust your video layout to accommodate that many tiles of students. You can also change your background. As I mentioned earlier, the background effects are really resource intensive. So if you have a powerful computer, this is doable. If you have a robust internet connection, this is doable. But Meet will sense how what the resources are of your computer, and if your computer does not meet the resources for this background, you're not going to see the option. So that's just so Google ensures the quality of the call for you. Other than that, we really don't have to worry about a lot of these other settings here. And like I said, this video is not an exhaustive video on how to use Meet. It's just a quick video to get you going and to leveraging it in the classroom. If you do want to know more about Meet, you go to the Google Meet Help Center, and there should be a link available to you on this website where you're seeing this video to engage that content. So I hope you found this video informative, and thank you for watching.